because with the movie starting to gain some traction, drama was right behind it, like getting banned in different countries and the FBI lists and
You were put on a list for making that film?
yeah, yeah.
Fuck, man. How did you find out that?
Letter.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? They sent you a letter?
yeah.
So when I spoke to you the other day, you sent me a new film, The Final Interview. It was fucking awesome, man. It was really kind of out of left field for what I was expecting you to make. It was like quite slow, had like a 70s feel. It was really like deliberately paced. Did you write it or was it written by somebody else? How did you get attached as a director?
So how it all started was I've been for years I've been trying to make this really big movie called Pittsburgh Body Removal, and it just gets harder. It's just hard to raise that kind of money.
Yeah,
And it was 10 years since my last movie, Cella Turcica. So I wanted to kind of do something different that showed that as a filmmaker, I can do anything.
yeah,
I wanted to have, I wanted to try working with movie stars and rely on story and acting instead of gore.
yeah.
Um, so I came up with this idea. My wife and I were having dinner at a Chinese restaurant, and I saw this. There was a TV playing, and it was like a talk show. And I was like, oh, this idea popped in my head about what if you found this missing tape of this last interview of this killer on death row, but it never got aired because something bad happened. So I went home and I immediately started writing the characters and the story, and um, then I've been writing with a friend, Rebecca Swan, who was Scott Swan when I made Maskhead, and then
Right.
Rebecca transitioned,
Yeah,
and um, so we have a really great working relationship where I'm a really great idea person, and she's an amazing writer.
yeah,
John Carpenter's Cigarette Burns for the Masters of Horror, everything like that. So it was just a no-brainer to work together. We have a really great working relationship, and that's kind of how it came to be. Because when you're making a movie, I knew that I didn't have a lot of money to make it,
yeah,
and I knew that to be compelling, you had the actors need to be really great, and the story you need to be really great, and the script
mm,
needs to be really great.
yeah,
I think we nailed that. I think that when I got the script back from Swan, I was just so impressed, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I shoot this to make it not boring? You know, like two people talking,
yeah,
and
man.
that shit can get kind of boring.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where like my style comes in,
Mm,
where like, I love the digital form so I can manipulate and make things look different. I can make it look like a TV show from
yeah,
1903, which it does, and then jump back into the cinematic universe.
yeah,
And then also having like the audio being special too, where you're hearing his producer in his ear
yeah,
and all this stuff going on. So uh, the movie plays a lot bigger than it really is. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
When you don't have a lot to work with, you have to be creative, and that's what I love about underground filmmaking. It
yeah, man.
makes me
That
stay on my toes and be creative.
yeah, that's what I enjoyed watching it. Is you, once you get past the really kind of cinematic, nice kind of taxi driver style car shots of the intro, then you're just in this room and you're locked in there. But there's so much going on behind the scenes that you're hearing, and there's stuff going on between him and the person he's interviewing, and there's things going on around them that you manage to create like all these little threads happening at the same time to keep things interesting. And cutting between the different cameras was nice, and different footage was nice, and like stuff looking a bit more kind of grainy, and like with like the CRT lines on and stuff was cool. It did a lot to like yeah keep us engaged watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it keeps you interested when you're
yeah,
jumping back and forth like that.
yeah. It was cool. So was it just the one location, and how long were you shooting for? What was it like?
Yeah, so we shot the movie in 9 days,
Nice.
um, and we built the set. So the interview actually takes place. We found this like abandoned. Um, it was like a car repair place,
Yeah.
And then it had the walls like a prison, those big cinder blocks that
Yeah,
prison.
yeah.
So my production designer, we went in there and we built the set, and I knew that it was like, all right, if I can just get this chunk of the movie done, the interview, we'll figure out how to do the prison. So we were thinking about like building set walls to make the prison, and it just so happened that David Fincher was just got done shooting Mindhunter here in
Yeah,
Pittsburgh,
yeah,
and there was a little article in the local newspaper talking about the prison that they were shooting in. So we ended up calling the people who own the prison, and we were able to rent the prison for one day,
oh,
which cost
perfect.
more than like my first three movies put together.
Yeah, yeah.
But we really utilized that one day,
Mm.
and I mean, it made the movie look like $1 million because now
Yeah,
you're in this big giant prison. It feels real. The doors open and move. The cells are
yeah,
real. It's not just a set. And like when you see him like walking, when you see Darius walking with the guards, and then he walks into the room, he like actually brought a piece of our set to the actual prison. So like,
ah, cool.
found a door for him to like cross in front
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
Then it cuts back to Oliver, and then right now we're back on the set.
yeah. That's awesome.
So that's the beautiful thing about movie magic and editing and
Yeah,
being prepared. Like to shoot this movie in 9 days, we had to be really prepared. And I'm working with Granger Hines, who worked with Steven Spielberg on Lincoln, and he works with the
yeah,
Coen brothers in the Battle of Buster Scruggs,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Diane Franklin, who is one of my favorite '80s actresses.
yeah,
Um, you know, I needed them to believe in me and trust the project. And even though it's 12 people making this movie, and not this big giant crew with
yeah.
hundreds of people. It's 12 people all focused to make something happen. And we just gave them, the Fred Vogel experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it came out great, man. Like even though, uh, you had to plan it so tight and shooting in a short amount of time, like you nailed it, dude. You nailed the tone more than anything. I really appreciated that the feel of those kind of. It reminded me of the old like Manson interviews and stuff. Like if you've watched
Sure.
them on YouTube
Oh,
or
of course. Yeah.
even like speaking of Mindhunter, like the Ed Kemper interviews are fucking amazing. And there's a tone to them, there's a feel to them, there's a look to it, and it was cool because the feeling and the look felt older, but it didn't feel like you just chucked a filter on top of some footage, or you know what I mean. Like you didn't do it
Absolutely.
super. You still did it in kind of a realistic way. Um, so how did you
Yeah.
finance the film? Did you finance it yourself?
Um, I financed myself with another partner,
Yeah,
and all said and done, the movie was around $75,000, which is a lot of money for an underground movie.
yeah, man.
But it was worth it because like to get the actors was so important. And
Yeah,
I've been always very lucky with my other films to find local talent.
yeah,
And Damian Marusak, who plays Darius Tidman, he had a small role in Murder Collection Volume 1. He had a small role in Maskhead, and then he starred in Stella Turcica.
yeah.
And when
Oh, he's the lead.
he's the lead.
I
That's
didn't even
him.
fucking recognize him.
Yeah. Yeah, because I told him, I'm like, dude, I'm like, grow your hair and your
Yeah.
beard
Wow.
out, and then we'll figure it out how I want it to look. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
like the way that everything was coming together, I'm like, we're not changing a thing, man. I'm just gonna have you raw with this beard and this
yeah,
messy
yeah.
hair and stuff like that. I'm like, nobody's gonna recognize
I
you.
didn't recognize him. I've seen the film.
And
Both of them.
yeah, he was amazing, and
Mm.
he's local, and he's one of my friends, and we were able to go over stuff, and then I was also able to get Granger to come up a few days early so Damien and Granger could rehearse.
That's cool.
And I would go there in the morning, have some coffee, and then I would leave, and I'd let those guys hang out. I'd come back at 8 o'clock at night, and those guys would just have like worked on the script and worked on the script because Damien had the script for a year.
Okay.
Granger had it for 6 days.
Right.
Uh, just trying to lock down, like this was my first SAG movie.
Mm.
So trying to like lock down the contracts and the actors, and um, you know, Granger decided to like instead of flying to Pittsburgh from New York, he decided to take a train
Okay.
just so he can have more time with the script.
Yeah.
And that just showed me that this is the real. This I picked the right guy. Like
Yeah.
this guy, is the real deal. He's such a great actor and a character actor. He's been in tons of television and tons of movies.
Hmm.
This time, he's the star,
Yeah.
and so excited about the character and to just dive in. And it made my job as a director, so much easier. You always hear directors say like half the thing about making the movies is casting the right person.
Yeah.
And I was just so fortunate that casting these people, everybody who's in the movie was just perfect for the
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it just made the 9 days go a lot smoother. We were scheduled for 12, I think.
Okay.
So we finished early because we just kept banging it out. Like, and it's all dialogue. Like it's
Yeah.
seriously like monologue after monologue after monologue of
Yeah.
pages.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to a lot of actors.
Yeah.
Normally it's like, hey, how you doing? Cut. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Piece together. This is like story after story after story and long monologues. And as a director, I'm sitting there like in my monitor, like so excited because
Yeah.
there are pages and pages of like what we come up with, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you did you ever feel any pressure? There's nowhere to hide in this kind of film for
No,
anyone.
no. Well,
So
I see, but that's what I love. Like,
yeah,
and
was
that's
that
what
part of the
all my
appeal?
movies are like that.
Yeah.
There is nowhere to hide because they are such a small budget. You know, I have to be on 100%.
Yeah.
If I'm acting like in an August Underground movie, or if I'm just directing,
Yeah.
I am the leader and the captain of the ship. So like,
Yeah.
I'm ready
Yeah.
to do anything that needs to be done to make this happen.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about before, about like the look of the movie and the period. In my day job, I do set dressing for big motion pictures and television shows.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give the movie a look of the early 80s, like,
Yeah.
going from like the 70s into the 80s. Everybody thinks through nostalgic eyes that it's all hot pink and,
Hmm.
synth music and things like that. And it's like, it wasn't really like that. It was
Yeah.
brown and, the colors of everything, and even the music. If you watch a lot of the
Mm.
movies that came out in the early 80s, they didn't have the synth score.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like past 85 going into the 90s is where they really kind of
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted everything to feel like that classic look, because I'm not telling you the year. You never see
Yeah.
what year it is.
Yeah.
It's just that I visually, from the phone to the taxi cab to the costumes to the sets, everything, I
Yeah.
want to feel like you were watching something that wasn't in the present time.
And like the set dressing is something that so often gets overlooked in low budget stuff. Like
Sure.
I know from making my own fucking stuff, it is most of the time I'm trying to cope with so many things at once that I overlook it. I don't have somebody specifically to do it for me most of the time. So I'm like, yeah, it looks fine. Just fucking move the light this way and then let's go. And then you end up like, if you slow down enough and you can dress things really well and pay attention to the props and things and do things period specific, it's like the immersion is so worth it.
Oh, totally.
Have you always been like that with your films? Like things,
Absolutely. Yeah.
everything in the
That was
frame
one
needs
of
to
the
look.
first things is, I'm a movie guy.
Hmm.
So like, if you come over to my house, there's movies on the wall, there's movie posters everywhere, Frankenstein behind me. And like when I did August Underground, I had to completely like take my 2000 DVDs and hide them,
Right.
because I didn't want it to look like this is a movie person. This is a fan.
Yeah.
Like, I needed you to believe these characters are different. That's why I really try not to have a lot of tattooed actresses in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm always, because I believe that just kind of takes you out of that world. It looks
Yeah.
too, it's just too present. And
Yeah.
um, and I think a lot of like filmmakers, they're so worried on like just trying to capture what they need to capture for the movie, they forget about the big picture.
Yeah.
Where the sets and the production design are very important, because like, even though you might be staring at this in a close-up, but it helps the actors to believe that they're actually in this set, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they can pick up a phone and it's a rotary phone instead of a cell phone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I try to. I hate having modern technology in movies because I want movies to be timeless, and I think
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of you have to be smart in thinking that when you're making
Yeah.
your.
It's
It's
one of the things that bothers me about modern horror films is when it's too modern, even if the kills are done well or the story's good or whatever, if it's too uh I don't know, like fucking if the characters are super modern and everything's really technological or whatever, I just go fuck off. I just feel like I'm watching like a fucking Apple ad. Do you know what I mean? Like rather
yeah,
than yeah, it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. I feel like that's where, like, I'm kind of an old school horror guy. Like I like Fulci and I like all the classic stuff. You know what I mean?
sure.
But I do still. I watch everything that comes out, and I'm always like hoping it'll be fucking awesome. Like I'm never like watching something going, "Oh, this sucks" because it was made. Like I'm always hoping stuff's gonna be really really fucking good.
Me
Um,
too.
but it's still mostly the underground where I find like the best stuff still now, and like still the stuff that has like the same passion that films, like especially horror films, feel like they used to have. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Horror movies were, underground movies. Seriously, like they were kind of like, they were lucky to get in the drive-in. You were
Yeah,
lucky to see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was made for no money. You were lucky to see, Night of the Living Dead because it was made with no money and independent, shot by 12 people and not these big.
yeah, yeah,
That's where lightning in the bottles caught
yeah,
because you have to really be an artist first.
yeah,
When you look at a lot of the big studio movies, it's all on paper. How are we going to make money? Is the actor have enough followers on Twitter,
yeah,
for us to do this movie? Do we need to have this product placement in the movie? Do we need to
yeah,
have all this going on? And that really takes away what I believe we all fell in love with
yeah,
about this is, the rawness of it. You didn't know who any of those actors were in Friday the 13th.
yeah,
Wasn't Kevin Bacon yet.
yeah, yeah,
know? Johnny Depp wasn't Johnny
yeah,
Depp yet in Nightmare on Elm Street.
yeah,
Uh, that's why I'm always looking for fresh faces because when you have stars in something that are so recognizable,
mm,
it'll suck you right out.
yeah,
It's like Diane Franklin in the final interview. Um, the movie takes place in the 80s, so I'm like I need to have an 80s icon in
yeah,
this movie. Now, there's some wonderful actresses in the horror genre that I know personally that I could have got to be in the movie. But I wanted somebody who represented the 80s and wasn't in she was in the right horror movies to where it wasn't so popular that everybody knows it. Like, Diane being in Amityville Horror 2,
yeah,
you know. But I love her because of Last American Virgin. It's like one of my favorite movies ever.
yeah,
But she was like the perfect 80s icon to me. Like as much as Heather Langenkamp and Amanda Wyss and like all these wonderful actresses that are out there,
yeah,
Diane was really who I wanted to go with, and like, it was even the same way with Camille Keaton in Cella Turcica.
yeah,
Was
yeah,
who's going to be the first movie star to be in a toe tag movie?
yeah,
And like Camille Keaton was the choice. Like
yeah,
she
yeah,
did one of the most iconic exploitation horror films of all time. I Spit on
yeah,
Your Grave. So why not come into my world and toe tag and
yeah,
have
yeah.
fun with us?
And it was nice seeing her doing a lot of dialogue stuff and a lot of character stuff and a lot of kind of drama scenes. Um, because that again, if you were casting in a exploitative kind of way, that wouldn't be the first thing you do, would it? You'd be like, oh, here's some words, run through them. So it was nice watching that film, actually, not knowing that she was in it. I watched it at a friend's house, and he just said it was your new film and put it on. I was like, okay, great. And then, yeah, seeing her pop up, but it being like this kind of drama like
Yeah,
model role
just the
was cool.
juxtaposition of the character because we know her
It
from
was
I Spit on
nice.
Your Grave, and now
Yeah,
she's an older woman to play a mom, and she was so happy to do it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
uh, I love Camille. Like man, like Diane and Camille were crushes for me as a
yeah,
kid. Like I found the beauty in them in the movies and the performances, and as much as like what Camille's character and I Spit on Your Grave shocked the shit out of me.
mm,
Um, you know, to me, she was still a powerful woman and beautiful and sexy. And
Yeah,
it's the same thing about Diane Franklin, just and they're both like the most wonderful human beings. I couldn't have been
yeah,
more blessed to have such amazing,
yeah,
talented,
yeah,
wonderful women. They're just
yeah.
amazing.
So when you start getting into horror and you get the bug and you try and watch as much as you can, what is the film you see that makes you go, okay, I could do that? Or what gives you the bug that takes you from viewer to starting to write your own stuff or wanting to make films?
Frankenstein is just as much a part of me as the air that I breathe.
Right.
It's really weird. It was my Frankenstein is my first love besides like my parents,
Yeah.
and my family. It was the first time I ever saw something that actually made me feel
Mm,
watching. The first time you see the Frankenstein monster come in, it's those shots that zoom up to his face, and it's just I didn't know what that was, but it
yeah.
was it was amazing. I wanted to know what that was. And at that moment in time, in the early '80s, you go to the toy store and you could buy old school monster toys.
Yeah.
There was a renaissance kind of going on, with those monsters. And on TV on Halloween, you see Frankenstein and Dracula and things like that. So I knew that I wanted to make monsters. I was just like, I want to make monsters. So um, growing up in the birth of the video boom,
Mm,
I just had access to everything, and
yeah.
that's where I was going to the video store, and I was watching movies like Friday the 13th and Last House on the Left, and all these movies that a young boy should not be watching. But I kind of had free reign because my mom worked. I was kind of raised by my grandma,
Yeah.
my because my mom was working two jobs to support my brother and I. And my mom was just like, whatever she like told the video store people, like, whatever he wants to rent, he gets a free pass. So I was renting
That's awesome.
like pity comedies, like
Yeah.
hard bodies and Porkies
Yeah.
and horror movies.
Mm,
So growing up, I was like this little horror hound pervert, like, yes, this is what I want to see. I want to
yeah.
see
Yeah.
naked women and blood splatter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, it's the environment going on too, and it's the time period. So, we had Garbage Pail Kids, which are these little nasty cards that had death,
Yeah.
their heads cut off or whatever. Then you had Fangoria magazine, and you
Yeah.
had all this all the cartoons were a little bit more violent back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that kind of stuff kind of like inspired me.
And it
Like,
was
oh,
all crazy too. It was all so fucking like rewatching some of the cartoons I used to watch when I was a kid. It's all so fucking OTT and wild. Like the stuff that happens in the episodes,
oh,
even
sure.
like stuff like the Spawn HBO series from like the 90s was fucking really dark and like
Oh
really
yeah, that's
crazy. And
great. Yeah.
is it like I think the culture was more, especially if you were like at that age, you were just getting into it, and everything was like turned up to 11, and it was amazing for your imagination. Like,
Well, that's what we had to rely on back in the day was our
yeah,
imagination and what we were catching on the television. Now we're
yeah,
so sensitized because of our phones and everything's
yeah,
there. And it's like, people aren't thinking and using their imagination the way that they used to
yeah,
because it's like, okay, it's just dopamine hit after dopamine hit.
yeah,
Where when you're younger and back in the day, you had to like search out that dopamine hit.
yeah,
Opening a pack of baseball cards, if it was reading a comic book, if it was riding your bike, if it was skateboarding,
yeah,
whatever. Like, we live in a different time now, so
yeah,
I feel sorry for this new generation, that just have access to everything
yeah,
and don't have the the love and the experience to find and something that they're passionate about.
yeah. Because it made it special. It's good to be bored. It was good to be bored because
Oh yeah.
you're using your imagination. Your brain was wandering and finding stuff like going to record shops and finding albums and buying them just based on the cover, without hearing them, and renting videos you didn't know what it was, and It
Oh
was
yeah.
you couldn't see trailers or anything really. I had dial-up internet. I suppose I was renting stuff when I was about 14 or 15, and I had dial-up internet, but it was so expensive I could only go on there for like, they'd be like, you've got 10 minutes, you know what I mean? So I just like, okay, and I'd quickly like do all the research I needed to do about the things I wanted to buy, and then like make a little list of stuff, and then, go out and look for it for the next month or whatever, trying to get my hands on it. It made it like special, you know?
Oh yeah. Saving your birthday money up to go get,
Yeah.
you know, for me it was books. It
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, I wanted to do makeup. And every time I would read a Fangoria magazine, there was like this name, Tom Savini, in
Mm,
it. And it's like, oh, Tom Savini made Jason. Oh, Tom Savini did Maniac.
yeah.
Like, oh my God! So it's like, oh, now I'm trying to find everything that I can on Tom Savini, and you would you would read the Fangoria in the back, and there'd be all these little ads, and you'd find people to tape trade with, you'd find different
Yeah.
books, you would find all this great stuff, and that was the best part, was just like, taking a chance and ordering
Yeah.
off the back of a book,
Yeah.
and months
Just
later you get
hoping
it.
it comes. Yeah.
Yeah, hoping it
There's
comes.
all my money in this fucking envelope. I just hope it comes.
Oh, dude, that's how that's how I found Fulci. Was
Right. Yeah.
tape trading with a guy in the back of Fangoria magazine.
Oh, cool.
Got like a fourth generation copy VHS of Zombie.
Yeah.
And it's so dark and shitty, but like, who
Yeah.
cares? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You were so into it, and then I would show my friends, and then they wouldn't want to hang out with me anymore. They're like, Fred, why are you watching this stuff? We should be watching the
Yeah.
movies. And
I remember just being terrified of the Cannibal Holocaust cover. It was the Vipco, it was the Vipco cover, and there wasn't even anything on it. It just
yeah,
had Cannibal Holocaust in big drippy letters, and it was like banned in 36 countries or whatever it was, like the movie they didn't want you to see. And I remember the warnings frightened me so much on
yeah,
that cover that I don't know how long it took me to actually watch Cannibal Holocaust, but I was so scared of it as an idea. Like I
yeah.
remember like sneaking down the horror aisle when my dad would go and look at like whatever had just come out, or like the blockbusters or the action films, and just walking down and looking at the covers. Weirdly, The Dentist 2 sticks in my head. I think it was just somebody with like sharp teeth and like blood, like
Yeah.
random films scared the shit out of me, man. And like finally getting them home and watching them then. The Dentist 2 wasn't amazing, but like getting Evil Dead, like being
Oh
really
yeah.
scared of that, seeing Evil Dead for the first time on VHS, renting it, was like just life changing, It was just an amazing time. And then I think soon after that was when I like found cameras. My granddad had a camera, my dad had a camera, and I was like, oh, okay. Did you have cameras around you growing up? Did you buy your first one?
No, I didn't. My friends did.
Okay.
So like, I would go over to my friend's house, and I would kind of like take over. We'd make a little movie, and then I would kind of like take over being the director. I would be like, all right, well, we need to get this shot. My brain worked the way movies work. So even like
Right.
when I played with my toys as a kid,
Yeah.
I would like, if I didn't like what I was doing, I'd change it up and do another take. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I was making movies with my friends, all through like middle school, and some parts of high school. But what I was so focused, I knew that I had to be a special effects artist.
Yeah.
So I was always playing with makeup and fake blood, and I mean, my parents' house back in the day would have it still had like fake blood marks on the ceiling for me, and being in the bathroom for hours, just putting crap on my face
Yeah.
and doing stuff. Because I was so into Tom Savini and like George Romero and those guys, that I was like, well, maybe I need to be a special effects artist first. Like, let me learn this craft first before I become a filmmaker. Because film school just seems so expensive, and cameras were expensive. And you always heard like, oh my God, the developed film costs thousands of
Yeah.
dollars. And I was like, well, if have a makeup kit for $100.
Yeah.
So I that's the route that I chose. I chose to be a makeup artist first, and then try to make movies.
Mm.
So by the time I got to college, one of my roommates had a video camera, and we would just on Friday nights we'd invite people over, and we would make movies, and it all consisted of the same things: it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So we would just have fun and make these movies, and then I would go in to school and bring the movie. We'd watch them.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of how the film department at the Art Institute where I went heard that I was making these movies and asked me to direct this. The school is making the first bicycle to ride in Antarctica. So he's like, if I can make a little mini documentary for it, and I made this little mini documentary, and it ended up getting put on, on television. And I remember all the film kids were so mad. They're like, "Why is this guy
Yeah.
in the effects department making movies?" And the teacher was like, "That's because he's making better movies than you guys." And I was doing in-camera editing. I didn't even know how to edit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was just like, okay, well, I know the camera when it resets goes back 3 seconds, so
Okay.
I would have to try to like, all right, I was coming in here now so it kind of looked flawless,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
camera. Well, I met somebody who knew how to edit,
Yeah.
and that's really how it all kind of started for me. It was just more. It was like more of a. It was more of a hobby, and the more I started playing with the filmmaking, the more I fell in love with it. And by the time I was teaching at the Tom Savini Makeup School in the late '90s, early 2000s,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna make a movie. Like I'm gonna make my movie, and that's when I made August Underground in 2001.
So when you're putting that together, you can do the gore effects well.
Yeah.
The kind of prosumer camcorders are out now. You can shoot stuff that looks real and gritty. And how much of it do you script? How much of it do you improvise? Like it has a loose cannon, like it could fly off the rails at any moment kind of feel to it. How much of it is meticulously planned and how much is flying by the seat of your pants?
So, for August Underground, we did have a script, but it became more of just a backbone,
Yeah.
especially when I decided to play the main character. When we first started, we did a test first with another actor, and because in my eyes, I want to be the director.
Yeah.
Behind the camera, I want to direct. I'll hire an actor, and because of at the time there was really nothing like it. Like Blair Witch was just born. It was still doing film festivals. It wasn't even out yet. And you know, found footage. The only really found footage movies that like we can reference was that scene in Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah.
The Cannibal Holocaust. Manuel in America. Had the kind of snuffy kind of thing going
Yeah.
on. But it was just like, well, let's see if this works. Let's see if this works because anything shot on video in the late '90s looked like shit. It just didn't look like a movie. We're so used to seeing movies.
Yeah.
But shot on video is just like, like what is this?
Yeah.
And I had no idea that there was even an underground scene.
Because there were shot and video people at that time making it. Like
Sure.
Tim Ritter was
Ritter,
just started
yeah.
going. Like a lot of people were going. I'm not sure if Brian Pauling came later. Maybe he was like late '90s, early 2000s. But like,
Was, yeah.
there was a scene,
But
but it must have been so disparate across the country, with no way of really knowing that other people are making, like without the internet access so easy or whatever.
Yeah.
You
So
must have
how-
felt like you were doing something in isolation almost.
It very was. I was very lucky that there was this really great cult video store in Pittsburgh called Incredibly Strange Video, and we actually shoot a scene in August Underground's Mortem in it.
Yeah.
Had to come into the store and fuck around. But that's where I discovered, a lot of movies. Like Van Beber
Dude, I
and
love Van Beber.
Ritter, and Eric Stanzi.
Mm. Scrapbook wasn't made then at that time, was it? Did that come later?
Scrapbook. I didn't see. You know what? I didn't see Scrapbook. I saw Eric's earlier stuff.
What's
It-
it's like the Native American zombie one. What was that one called? Fuck. Savage Harvest.
Savage Harvest. Yeah,
That was one of the first ones you did, right? I think maybe that was
Yeah.
out then.
yeah, and again, that was the early Sub Rosa stuff that was
Yeah.
out at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, these guys are doing it. Like I can go to the video store and there's their movie. Like that was the goal.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, obviously I can't make my big zombie movie that I wanted to make. It's
Yeah.
going to cost too much money. But if I can make something that will kind of just get my foot in the door and get my movie, on VHS tape inside a video store, like I'm gonna be happy. Like that's the
Yeah. Yeah.
goal I want. I'm like nobody's gonna go to the movie theater and see this idea of this serial killer. Like that wasn't even in my brain. It was just
Yeah.
like getting on videotape so it gets in a video store.
Yeah.
And after August Underground was made and I started sending copies around to people, that's when I really saw like the power that
Mm.
art that we created. It's like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like this is a little different than everybody else's.
Yeah. You didn't
You
feel it
know,
was that dark while you were making it?
no, because man, like, I'm a pretty fun guy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I didn't realize how dark it would be because when I would show my friends the movie, everybody'd be like, "Oh, Fred, this is gross. Like, why would you do this?" Like they
Yeah.
knew me, but the people who didn't know me were the ones that were terrified of me.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, "Oh shit! Like this movie has some power." And of
Yeah.
course, you know, everybody knows like if they don't know, like the guy who's the cameraman who is my partner in crime during the making of the movie, Alan Peters ended up leaving the project because it was just too real for him, and he was a family man and didn't want to get anything, get his
Yeah.
family involved in any of the drama that was starting to happen.
Yeah.
Because with the movie starting to gain some traction, drama was right behind it, like getting banned in different countries and the FBI lists, and
You were put on a list for making that film?
yeah, yeah.
Fuck, man. How did you find out that?
Letter.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? They sent you a letter?
yeah. I mean,
Shit.
I really wish we lost a lot we lost a lot in like this flood that happened when we
Ah,
were moving from studio to studio.
yeah,
We
yeah,
lost a lot of stuff, but you know, the movies really, uh, especially overseas, was
yeah.
people had a lot of problems with it. Australia, like a fan's house got raided because of it.
Oh, wow.
It just I didn't realize that this movie would cause that kind of effect.
Yeah.
Just like gross jackass. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
just what it was.
yeah. I think it's the tone. There's something really fucking crushing about the tone. I think the scenes in isolation aren't that bad, but when you put them all together,
Yeah.
the tone of it is just fucking, yeah. There's a really nihilistic darkness to it, and it's heavy to watch. It is heavy to watch. And now I've seen it enough times, I can watch them, and they inspire me. They make me want to go out and make kind of a found footage thing. You know what I mean? Like they inspire
Yeah.
me the same way Blair Witch does, or watching any kind of low budget indie found footage thing. But
Sure.
yeah, there is a heaviness to it. Well, what happened to the idea to? Well, I don't even know if it's fucking true. Something I read online was you were gonna place copies in places for people to find.
Yeah.
Were you actually gonna do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Where were you gonna put it?
Everywhere and anywhere that would cause a ruckus. From the
Yeah,
steps of the police station to
yeah,
playgrounds to at the time. I still had friends that like just graduated college, so I had friends all over the country. So my goal was just to like send them a copy and then be like, "Hey, just drop this off.
yeah,
Throw
yeah,
it,
yeah,
throw it, and hopefully somebody finds it."
yeah.
But then 9/11 happened,
Right,
and
yeah, fuck.
that really put a damper in things because America was such under watch now. Because
Yeah,
there's anthrax going on and things in the mail, so it just wasn't the right choice. So I had to like pivot
yeah,
and let people know that the movie was uh, a movie.
yeah,
I was doing a convention because how I pretty much got the word out about August Underground was I would go to these horror conventions. They back in the day was only three of them. Now
right,
they're
yeah,
um, I would walk around with a backpack and a VCR, and I would like go to rooms and I would set up. I would be like, "All right, everybody, at midnight, come watch a movie."
yeah,
Pop in the movie, and then I would leave. And then I would come out and answer questions at the end. And there'd be 50 people when the movie started. There'd be 4 people left,
Yeah.
and those 4 people are still with me to this. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's what I wanted.
That's the
Like that's
thing.
what I
Yeah.
wanted. August Underground and my movies are made for people who are to take that next step
Yeah.
into
Yeah, yeah.
horror. It's not made for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. And
So I don't
and
get mad when people are like, "Oh, I don't like it," or "I don't get it," or
yeah.
I can make a better movie on my phone and shit like that.
Right,
People have
yeah.
no idea like the choreography and the planning that went into all that to make real look real.
That's it. That's why it's so effective is because it feels so real. Are you getting permission? Are you running and gunning and is it all without permits or are you shooting places you're allowed? How are you
Yeah,
shooting the stuff in
all
public?
yeah. So no permits.
Mm-hmm.
Like the slaughterhouse in August Underground was a family friend.
Right.
The convenience store was my convenience store growing up as a kid.
Okay.
Um, utilize what you had.
Mm.
Like that's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah.
So by the time we made August Underground's Mortem, people who saw August Underground wanted to be victims in
Ah,
August
okay.
Underground's
Cool.
Mortem.
So you could rope them
So
in.
that's how we were able to get victims. And then
Right.
by the time August Underground's Penance came out, that was even more fans.
Yeah.
So like everybody who's a victim in August Underground's Penance were fans that we met through the convention circuit or whatever that wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Nobody got paid. It was all about
Yeah.
art.
Yeah.
It was all about the experience because them as a fan wanting to like step into that world and
Yeah.
be in a scene with me
Yeah.
and be terrified. Like, oh my God, like the first time they watched an August Underground movie, they were terrified of Fred,
Yeah.
Peter, or whatever, my
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now they get to live in that moment and get
Yeah.
that high, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
uh, which is really cool. And I think that's what makes it special is that, it wasn't casting actors. It was casting people that I could be like, listen, I need you to trust me,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna take you to the fucking edge.
That's the thing. You pushing you're pushing people, and they would have to completely trust you for you to be able to be that kind of unpredictable and extreme around somebody that might
Yeah.
be tied or gagged or restricted in some way. Yeah, they'd have to trust you a lot, and they'd have to know deep down, Fred's a good guy. He's not going to hurt me. Just to be able to get that performance.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
and toe tag was a family.
yeah,
At the time it was, Jeremy Cruz and Krusty, they were a couple.
right.
Shelby and I were a couple. So
Yeah,
it's these two couples that make these movies,
yeah,
but
yeah,
get these people are so nice, but they make this sick art. And that's just the way that we just expressed ourselves is with the art. And they knew when they were hanging out with us, it's all fun, and it's
yeah,
like, how do you come up with these sick ideas? And I always say that I was born with this macabre gene
yeah,
where I like a little things dark, but like I also love rom-com comedies and
yeah, man.
I love love and I want
Yeah,
people to be happy and safe and
yeah,
um, I never I don't want anybody to ever have a bad experience in one of the movies or get hurt in one of them. It's a movie,
yeah,
as much as in August Underground's Mortem we crossed the line with a lot of like the um, self-mutilation and this the sex stuff,
yeah,
but it added to that movie. Like August Underground's Mortem was this melting pot of creativity with all these different artists,
yeah,
and it's amazing for what it is, but
yeah.
it's also dangerous.
Do
You know what
do
I
you
mean?
do you once you make the first one and it comes out and it's picked up uh, by people all over the place and they're interested in it and it's generating all this kind of hubbub. Do you feel any pressure to outdo anything in the extremity stakes as you go on through 2 and 3, or do you just make another one and just continue this story, and just
I never wanted to make a sequel.
yeah.
Um, it's August Underground's Mortem started out as a Necrophagia music video.
Oh no way. Okay,
Yeah, so I
that's
ended
how I
up
found Van Beber actually was the Through the Eyes of the Dead
yes,
Necrophagia videos.
yeah.
You did a live DVD for them as well, didn't you?
For Necrophagia, yeah, I did.
Yeah, yeah. Was
Yeah,
there
so
a doc?
yeah, there is. Killjoy, I met Killjoy, and he loved August Underground and was just like, hey, I want to do a music video where it's like this. And we started shooting some stuff, and Killjoy was really, he wanted to make it more depraved and more depraved. And um, I was like, okay, like I it was just trying to, it was just, you want to take that next step. Like, okay, well
Yeah,
now there's, you know, this musician who, Phil Anselmo was in the band that,
right. Yeah,
Necrophagia earlier on. And like, I was looking, okay, this is a next stepping stone to help build this career of
yeah,
Toto.
yeah,
And, because Killjoy was so persistent and wanting to go harder, we wanted to go harder for him.
mm,
And I think if Killjoy was not involved as a friend and wanted to be part of Toe Tag and be part of this next movie, it wouldn't be what it is.
yeah,
And then you also have, you have these very talented artists like Michael Schneider and Christy, and Krusty and Jeremy Cruz. And we we really went there. We were vulnerable and let's fucking do it. Like
yeah.
whatever we got to do. And then Killjoy and I went off to Europe and we did a documentary and I did all this stuff with Necrophagia. And then came home. And when I came home, Michael Schneider started editing the movie, and the movie was turning into something that wasn't an August Underground movie.
Mm,
And that's kind of when we had a falling out, went our separate ways. Uh, and we decided to kind of like shoot new stuff to kind of make it an August Underground film.
okay.
And that's what we did.
In the way that there wasn't enough character stuff or story, and it just turned
Yeah,
into a
it was
bunch of
just
set pieces.
it was Michael is a very talented artist and experimental.
Yeah,
So when we started watching this cut, he would eliminate things, and we'd be like, "Wait a minute! Like you're kind of taking away like the characters of these people.
yeah,
Now
okay.
it's becoming like you and shit like stuff that's just not making sense."
Yeah,
So after the split and he left, and Christy, Jeremy, and Shelby and I kind of got back and Killjoy. We shot like the opening scene where you see her having sex with her brother.
yeah,
Like you need those. Even though it's not a linear arc,
yeah,
I have to put a linear arc in there without you knowing it.
yeah,
So those little bits tell you what's going on,
yeah,
even though I'm not force feeding it to you. You know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah,
you're fucking your brother. Now you know through the whole movie everything that they do. You see them do. How
yeah.
fucked up is it? Because it's her
There's
brother,
context. Yeah, yeah,
and you know that I still love her, and you see our dynamic change.
yeah, yeah,
And you see the maggot character and the Peter character starting to turn on each other during the movie as well.
yeah,
Like that was all real too. You know what I mean? Like we were. It's hard when you're four artists with egos
yeah.
getting into
Right.
something. Like August Underground is mine.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So even though it was the music video for Necrophagia and everything like that. That world and my character in that
yeah,
setting, that's my world.
yeah, yeah,
So I wanted to take it back to toe tag, and I wanted to make it something else. And that's when I was, as soon as, even while we were making it, I'm like, I need to make a part three, because I felt like it was getting away from me. And I
yeah,
need to hone it back in and make it feel more like an August Underground. And that's why I feel like August Underground's Penance is like the best of both worlds,
yeah,
because the Krusty character is so amazing to have a female killer like that.
yeah,
So if we, and then I wanted to show the decline of the characters, because I hate, one of the reasons why I made August Underground too was I hated how Hollywood glorified serial killers,
right.
and I wanted to show these people as horrible people
Yeah,
and not like them.
yeah.
There's nothing nice about them. So
I think that's where the shockiness comes from. I think because you're so used to that detachedness when you watch a film,
yeah,
that something in that like verite style made at that time when that wasn't being done it dissolves that barrier, and you're like, I'm looking at someone I shouldn't be looking at here, and that's what gets people, I think, isn't it? That's what works. So you make those films, you have Toe Tag now, you're putting out your own films, and then you do Red Sin Tower, which is a more conventionally shot film. It's a really good looking film. Like you've got a really great location. Like it's lit really nice. So what's the shift there when you go, okay, let's make a film now, and let's
Yeah.
try and
So after August Underground's Mortem, we get contacted by a filmmaker named Nick Palumbo. And Nick Palumbo, um, heard about August Underground and heard about the effects, and he wanted to make. His goal was to make the first 35 millimeter NC-17 horror film. He wanted to go balls to the wall. So we were super excited to go work on this movie.
yeah,
We were like, holy shit! Like nobody's gonna ever see our little fucking movie. Like let's go work on this. Shot
yeah,
on film.
yeah,
Movie, like Gunnar Hansen and Neil, and like we were
yeah,
like, oh, this is a great thing. So we go out there and we grew. It was like we were this little toe tag flower, and then out in Vegas, we creatively, because we were able to do so much great special effects,
yeah,
that our talents grew, and we learned a lot through the filmmaking process, working with the other guys from New York that were shooting the movie.
yeah,
And when we came back, it was like, all right, well, now as for me as an artist, I was like, well, I don't want to be this like one trick pony that
yeah,
just makes snuff films.
yeah,
How do I do something different? So, I love, I love slasher films. Jeremy loves, supernatural films. We love possession movies. It was like, what can we kind of make that is a little bit of everything
yeah,
and really show our talent? Like, let's build these sets. Like, let's do all of this.
yeah,
That's what we did. We kind of took the money that we made from Murder Set Pieces, and we
yeah,
ended up getting the studio. And we built the sets in there, and we wrote the script, and made the Redson Tower. And you know, in our eyes, the Redson Tower was this is Toe Tag's mainstream movie.
yeah,
We kind of played by the rules, even though there's some fucked up shit in it.
yeah,
That's Toe Tag, right?
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, like, we were able to go to that movie went to the Fantasia Film Festival, and you know, uh, but then like a lot of the distribution companies wanted us to cut out, the birthing of the baby where you see the
okay,
vagina and
yeah,
all that shit, and we were like, fuck you,
yeah,
like we're not cutting our shit, like that's the thing about Toe Tag is like we're punk rock,
yeah,
we are 100. Toe Tag is 100% art.
yeah,
It's never been about making like how are we going to make millions and millions of dollars. That's
yeah,
just
yeah,
we'd have to make a different kind of movie.
yeah,
We just wanted to make what we wanted to make. We've always done that, and um, it changed me as a filmmaker. Is like, okay, well now I'm this underground guy.
yeah,
As much as I wanted to be, Brian De Palma, or Spielberg, or
yeah,
now like I'm this underground guy. Like people know me from making these kind of movies, and
yeah,
I realized like this is what I'm here for. I'm here to art. I'm here to because I've always been an artist. So
yeah,
it's like I'm here to make my art films, like John Waters,
yeah,
like Jim Jarmusch.
yeah,
Like all these great filmmakers that make their art
yeah,
and
yeah.
not compromise. And that's really where it's at for me.
So how long are you taking between each project? Like normally, I know it's a fucking annoying question. People are like, where's your inspiration come from? Because it's fucking everything all the time, isn't it? And you just
Yeah,
think about things.
it's
But what's the thing that makes you pull the trigger on an idea as opposed to just going, this could be a cool thing? Like, what makes you go, okay, we're gonna go full fucking production?
yeah. So it's a weird thing. Um, so after the Renson Tower came Murder Collection Volume One
Yeah.
and Masthead, both shot in the same year.
Oh no way. Okay.
Yeah. So August Underground. So it goes. August Underground was 2001. August Underground's Mortem was 2003. The Redson Tower was 2000. We shot it in six, but it came out in seven. Um, August Underground's Penance was 2000. Wait, maybe I'm wrong. August Underground's Penance was 2007. We shot it right after Redson Tower, and
Mm.
then Masthead, Murder Collection and Masthead came out in 2009, and then Solo Turska 2000.
Yeah.
So we were like full steam ahead
Yeah.
making,
Yeah.
and Murder Collection was one of these ideas. Like at the time, um, the internet was faster than it was ever been, and now
Mm.
you're starting to see like these real death clips and
Yeah.
Rotten.com and all
Yeah.
this. And that was kind of our answer to that. Was like, hey, listen, we can make something that looks exactly like real death footage, but you don't have to have that sick pit in your stomach of watching somebody really being hurt.
Yeah.
This is all toe tag doing our magic.
Yeah.
Mathhead was, I get a call from Scott Swan, who wrote John Carpenter's Cigarette Burns, and he wants to make a movie with us. So it's Hollywood coming to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So that was another like boost for us. We were like, oh my God, we're gonna make this movie.
Yeah.
And then Sela Turcica was let's go back, let's try to make something that's a little bit more dramatic. That's what I wanted to do as a filmmaker. Because I love horror and drama mixed together. I
Mm.
feel like horror sticks to it really good.
Yeah.
Um, so with Celtics, because we had this like really great decade, from 2001 to
Yeah.
2010, and after that, by that time, Christy left Toe Tag. Jeremy ended up moving to California. Shelby and I ended up opening up the Toe Tag store in Pittsburgh. So we kind of like separated because it was just a lot,
Yeah.
like in that 10 years, Shelby and I ended up getting married, and um, life changes.
Yeah.
It's okay to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and all live in the same house when you're 23 years old, 24
Right.
years old.
Right.
But when you're in your 30s, you got to
Yeah.
start growing up a little bit. You have car payments and a
Yeah.
mortgage, kids, or whatever. So, we had to take a step back and realize, like, wait a minute, like, are we still going to be kids, or do we need to grow up a little bit?
Right.
So, Jeremy went out to California, and he started making all of the suits for the Marvel movies. He did Deadpool and Black Adam, and while he's doing that, I'm working, with Tom Hanks on the Mister Rogers movie and A Man Called
Yeah.
Otto, and Jason Momoa movies, and all the big movies shot in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So we're growing different ways now.
Yeah.
Like Jeremy's growing to a better as a special effects artist and a creator that way, and I'm growing more in the art department,
Yeah.
the sets and the production design and things like that. And next thing you know, in the blink of an eye, it's 10 years later.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, what do we do? And Jeremy wasn't available to do the final interview, so that's why the final interview isn't a toe tag movie. It's just a Fred Vogel movie.
Yeah.
And now, 10 years later, we're still having trouble trying to make that happen because now Jeremy's a father of twins.
Yeah.
And, dude, you can't make art sometimes when you have a family and
Yeah.
other responsibilities, and it's really hard. But, for me, I don't have kids. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to make art. I need to
Yeah.
make art. It hurts me that I'm not able to make art with like my best friend
Yeah.
who I've made art with for a decade in the past. And that's why it's kind of weird to see like what happens next, because I am very close to making what I think is going to be my next movie. As much as I wanted to be Toe Tag's next movie, I don't know if it's going to be Toe Tag's next movie. It might be another Fred Vogel film.
Yeah.
But
So you're still writing the whole time, and you're still
oh
coming up
yeah,
with stuff.
I've constant, dude. I
Yeah.
got a Frankenstein script. I got a Santa
Amazing.
Claus Killer script. I got, I have five scripts right now that are ready to go. It's just
Yeah.
like, what's the money at?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
where do I go? And I know that the fans have been missing some gore from me, so I want to give them something nasty. So I'm ready to stick my toe back into the blood.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
the hard part is
yeah,
getting the cash up to be able to do it, and also trying to rely on distribution to make sure it comes out or whatever right afterwards. I guess you've been pretty well. You've been pretty lucky with the August Underground stuff because people have picked it up now. It's got nice additions. It's got nice releases. Your other stuff's quite hard to find. Like, surely there must be companies out there that would, do some kind of deal so you can make something and have it released, or release your harder to find stuff like Red Centaur and
Sure.
Subnautica.
So, right now we have a real so toe tag at the time with the August Underground movies, nobody would touch them. I couldn't get
Yeah,
any to give to a distribution, so we did the distribution.
yeah.
And in the underground, we were making real DVDs where a lot of other underground filmmakers were doing, DVD-Rs.
DVDRs, yeah.
So we wanted to stand out as the best.
Mm,
Like you're getting your low budget movie from Toe Tag, but you know what? It's a real DVD.
yeah,
It's got tons of special features on it. It's got Easter eggs. It's
yeah,
the best of the best.
yeah,
Well, now we have a really great relationship with Unearthed Films.
yeah,
Steve Byro and I go back, 25 years.
yeah,
When Unearthed first started, Toe Tag first started. We started at the same time, so we've known each other for 25 years,
yeah,
and they did such an amazing job with the August Underground movies and Maskhead that
mm.
my whole catalog will be coming out through Unearthed,
Oh, great. That's awesome.
and I hope my relationship with Unearthed continues. So I'm hoping that the next movies that I make will come out through Unearthed and
Yeah,
um, you know work together to give the fans the best product that I possibly can. It's hard for me and Toe Tag to release the movies ourselves. It's
yeah,
like you know when you work a 9 to 5. For me, it's 4 in the morning until 6 at night.
yeah,
Movie where it's so draining.
yeah, man.
Um, you know, I can't be Amazon. And
Yeah.
we live in this world where everybody wants shit tomorrow.
People expect it. Yeah,
Like Fred's packing your movies, dude. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah,
I'm the guy down there, like,
yeah.
Shelby's printing the label, and I'm the guy in the basement putting it in the box and
Mm-hmm.
packing it up for you
Yeah, yeah,
and shit like that. So, I always want to stay close to my fans that way. That's why we still keep the Toe Tag website going on, and you're still able to buy movies from Toe Tag
yeah,
are shipped from me um, and Shelby. So we do special things. We do the poster if you buy the August Underground movies, and I still try to keep it special. But
yeah, man.
my relationship with Unearthed is really the future for my movies. And
Oh, that's cool. So, you said you're nearly gonna make your next one. Have you started kind of the pre-production process on that, or?
um, so I have money raised.
Amazing.
Yeah, and but right now I'm going to be starting Mayor of Kingstown season 5, which is a television
Right.
show. Now,
Yeah,
I've worked on since season 2. Once I moved to Pittsburgh from Canada, so I've worked on every season of Mayor of Kingstown.
yeah,
So I'm going to finish Mayor of Kingstown season 5, and then hopefully this summer. I seem to make all my movies in August.
right.
It's just a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I'm my this is a really busy year for me because my wife and I, we both turned 50. We're going to turn 50. It's our 20-year wedding anniversary. It's August Underground's 25th anniversary.
yeah,
So I have a lot of stuff going on right now, and what better way to kind of end it off is like to make a new movie.
yeah,
So
man.
really hoping that everything works out. Uh, the script's ready, everything's ready. It's just that I just need to find the right people to be in it.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I hope it gets made, man. Best of luck with it, and
Thank
thanks for
you.
taking the time to speak to me. It was fun, man. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Awesome, dude.
So before we go, let people know where they can find your stuff and how they can support you.
Um, so you can buy some of my movie. You can buy the August Underground trilogy and Maskhead at toetag.biz. You can get the final interview at thefinalinterviewmovie.com. We did a really great special edition. It's like a 3-disc set. Comes with the Blu-ray, the DVD, and the CD. Soundtrack is the score, and the movie's awesome.
Yeah,
Paul Joyce did an amazing job. And it comes with all kinds of really cool goodies. It's a really great special edition. They're numbered to 1,983 copies. So once you get one of those, that's it. So, you know, you want to get that now because my movies seem to keep going up in price. So, like, to
Yeah,
try to find my original stuff, you're paying a lot of money for.
yeah, yeah.
And then I'm on you know, stupid social media. Like, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I don't know what my handles are. It's Fred Vogel. Just look for this face. Uh, and that's where I'm at. But you know,
Sweet. Thanks for
that's
coming
it.
on, Fred. Appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
man.